So, Bridge.
Yes, Kate.
Guess what? Well, you're not going to be able to guess, so let me give you more context about the guess. Okay, so today was a little bit of a long day. I was doing a professional drumline gig at a professional football team game, but there was a halftime performer, and it was someone that we did, I think, only one movie about, but we, like, talked about him, and he was, like, a music...
Eminem?
Person. Oh my god, no, I wish.
Okay, wait.
Okay, I need to give you more context. It was an episode we did, like, really early on.
If I had... No, I'm kidding.
Yep, it was James Cromwell skipping across the stage.
Kate, I don't know. It could be anybody.
Okay, so there's like a couple guys they make like a little fake stage. They just like bring it out on the field.
Wait, we gotta set the scene. You're at an NFL game.
Yeah.
And you're hired to do fun halftime performances in addition to whatever else is there.
Well, we don't do halftime usually, but we do pregame. So we'll do like a little pregame, and then we'll play for all the drunk people in parking lots, and that's fun. And then we'll play like a timeout song usually at some point throughout the game.
Love it.
But when we were going on to do we do like a sound check for pregame. So that's like we go out on the field and it's like hours before the game. And that's when the halftime people were doing this. That's where we saw them. So it was like what looked like a DJ and then like four of the dudes. Didn't really recognize any of them. I don't know. So we just like kind of like wandered over because they were like trying to like perform, but there was no audience. So it was like kind of weird. So we're like, we'll be the audience. And this one guy who's one of our ops guy who's like helps with the electronics and shit, whatever with us. He turns and he goes, do you guys know who that is? And I was like, no, who is it? And he goes, it's Tone Loc.
What?
Do you remember Tone Loc?
Wait, really?
Do you remember what movie he was from? Because it is the first thing I said out loud when he said that.
Oh my god, I cheated and I'm Googling it and it says Fern Gully.
It was Fern Gully! He was the lizard.
Oh, where he was like, hey man.
He was in Ace Ventura.
Wow.
It was Tone Loc. He was, I guess, singing, rapping. It was a time.
Wow, that's nostalgic.
Literally, the first thing I said, I go, oh my god, from Fern Gully? And then the guy was like, maybe. I don't know what that is.
Like, there's a great podcast you should check out called Sisters Who've Seen It.
Take my business card. Yeah, oh my god, isn't that like so? It was very nostalgic podcasting. I was like, what the fuck, Tone Loc?
Dude, it's like you entered another universe.
And like nobody else. I was like, guys, he's a 90s icon. Everyone's like, we don't know who this is. And I was like, guys,
did you try to like talk to him?
No, but he said, you guys are great or something. And then we were like,
was he like, you guys are great?
I don't know, because then apparently we passed him later somewhere in the stadium and I didn't recognize him. And apparently he said, we're great again. And I didn't hear the voice. And if I heard that voice, I think I would have noticed. But
holy shit, that's hilarious.
Maybe he's like taking some cough drops now and fixed it. I don't know.
He's like, I actually had a horrific disease for most of my career, and now I look like this. No, I'm kidding.
Oh my god, yeah, so I just had to share that with you. Tone Loc, everybody!
Wow!
If you know, you know.
Sisters who've seen it. We are the sisters who've seen it. Sisters, shooby-dooby-doo-wop, sisters, shooby-dooby-doo-wop, sisters, sisters who've seen it.
Hello!
Hello! You know, I hear, again, just speaking to what we just spoke about, I hear drums often, but now after seeing this movie again, if I hear that beat,
a little scary.
I don't know about it.
Pick up that board game.
And I love board games. It's hard.
I mean, it is a millennial's weakness. Hey, who are we?
Okay. Bridge. All right, listeners. So we are the Sisters Who've Seen It, the podcast where two sisters who are not movie critics look back on some of our favorites throughout the years through a psychological, ethical, and familial lens. I'm Katie.
I'm Bridget.
And oh god, my notes are not a good spot.
Jumanji.
I think when I imitate that, I'm thinking
so
of when he
weird.
says it at the end, and he's like he's about to get like shot in the face.
Yeah.
He's like, Jumanji!
He-
Like, dude, have some sense of urgency.
I agree. It was such a weird Jumanji. It was weird. I was like, I would have screamed that as fast as possible. There was a lot of moments that I was like, if we just played this faster, we would have reduced the trauma.
We just pick and throw and pick and throw and pick and throw the dice.
I guess we gave away the movie, huh?
Oh, what's the movie, Bridget?
The 1995 original Jumanji.
Jumanji.
Starring Robin Williams.
Oh my god, and I forgot Bonnie Hunt is in this, but
Hunt?
she's great.
Kirsten Dunst.
Yes, that other
Jonathan
kid.
Hyde. Bradley Pierce.
Oh, yeah, all them.
Patricia Clarkson. David Alan Grier.
Bridge,
Yeah.
it is your turn to do a synopsis.
And
I'm sorry, not sorry,
I
but...
am ready. Let's do it.
Okay, let's hear it.
Oh,
Yep,
Bridget.
okay.
Did you not write down the one sentence?
Bridget, I'm
Wait.
surprised at you.
No. I
Did your phone autocorrect it to
No,
blank?
I
or
got
something?
this.
Okay.
When two kids play an old magic board game they found, they release a man trapped for decades in it and a host of dangers that can only be stopped by finishing the game. Okay.
That's not how I thought we would describe it. I thought we would just focus on the trauma and the horrors, but we focused on there's a man who comes out of the game. It sounded appropriate. I'm just saying. My God. Oh my God.
All right, now
Wow.
I'll go into how I really think what the movie is.
Okay.
So let me make sure I get this right, because when you were like, Bridget, did you pick Jumanji because of the same director?
Wasn't it the writer was the same, or someone was the same of Honey, I Shrunk?
Yes, it was the director. I was like,
Oh, wow.
oh, I'm a ding dong. That's why I picked it. I was like, no, what? No, I didn't. That's not at all. And I'm like, oh, that's exactly why my subconscious brain.
Yeah,
But-
I think it was.
So this director has a history in special effects, and I would say that, and if you listen to Honey, I Shrunk the Kids episode, there's some scariness to this. There's a little bit of horror angle. However, we add cool effects, and so we forget about it.
Yeah.
But I would say this movie is so quick, and I thought it was so good.
I had a great time.
I had such a good time.
It was really fun.
Like, guys, get on it. The original. We don't need Dwayne The Rock Johnson, okay? Kevin Hart. We need Robin Williams. So,
We do.
we start back in... apparently this game has been around since, like, the 1800s, where you see two people burying it, and then all of a sudden we shoot to 1960s, and that's where baby Robin Williams, who is named Alan Parrish, finds this board game from the 1800s by... Kate, do the beat. Hit me with the beat, Kate. You afraid? Don't play that board game. If your board game is drumming at you, run away.
If your board game makes noises by itself with no batteries, goodbye.
And we
Burn
got
it in
we
the
got
fire.
stories about that. You remember all Mary's old toys when we were little, and they would just go off?
That's because Mary's Matilda. We already talked about it. Mary's
Well-
Matilda. She used her genius mind power. She just doesn't want to tell us because
That's true. That's true.
Right.
Yeah, astrophysicist's sister. Well, so in this case, he gets the board game. He goes home, and he kind of is like, he's a kid, so he's intrigued by it. But little does he know that this board game is freaking wild. And so, first of all, this came from a book. There was an original book that's where this came from, called Jumanji.
Wow.
And they kind of this movie added a little bit more characters, a little more depth, but the whole premise is about imagine if you were actually immersed in a board game. And so that's kind of exactly what happens. So when they roll the dice, it's a wild game. You don't know what's going to happen, but basically animals come out around them in all these different scenarios and all these different turns. But in Alan's case, he gets sucked into the board game and sent to a jungle where
Sucks.
no one knows.
He's in a magic board game jungle.
He's in a magic
outer
board game
space.
jungle. go.
Wow.
And the only way to get him out is for the other person he was playing with, which was basically like a neighbor friend her name is, I'm blanking right now. Sarah. But she is so horrified by all this animals coming out that she runs away. So what, 20 years go by? Something like that?
26 years, I think.
26 years. And then someone else moves into his childhood home where the board game still is. So they hear the drums, they open up the board game, and this starts the same game that was started 20 years ago, and it is just like a wild adventure from there. The two little kids, Kristen Dunst, who is like, she is so good in this.
Yes.
And then that kid, who his name is Bradley Pierce. Did you know he is the voice of Flounder from Ariel?
What?
I mean, I don't think he sounds like Flounder in Jumanji, but he could do that voice.
Wow. That's a fun fact. You loved Little Mermaid when you were younger.
And now there's like a new one, and it's so exciting.
Yep.
So they get involved. There's a lot of other details, but basically, like, the town, just chaos happens, and it is so quick. I do not remember it being that high action.
Yeah.
And the CGI rocked. And the reason it rocked was because there was like a super famous special effects guy. Stephen L. Price was basically like a genius in the special effects, and he died. He did Hook. He did Jurassic Park. And he like passed away because of cancer. And he was incredible at the industrial light, the visual effects.
Industrial Light and Magic.
Yes.
That's Jurassic Park.
Yes.
Wow.
So I was pleasantly surprised by how well the movie holds up. There's certain scenes where you're like, okay, that's cheesy. Like the monkeys.
The monkeys for me.
But overall, like, what a good time, Kate. I can't wait to get into this because, like, I had a blast. And then Robin Williams, man, what a gem.
Yes.
The best. Yeah. What did I miss? Did I miss anything important? That's it, right?
I think that's great. And I would like to dive right in because we start off in the year 1869. Now, Bridge, I'm not much of a historian, / I didn't like history growing up. Do we think board games existed in the 1800s? What do we think?
I'm sorry, but the only movie I thought of at that moment was Hocus Pocus.
Wait! I fucking thought of that? Did I write it down? Because I swear to God, I thought the same thing. Where I was like, these little Puritan bitches in the woods at night, y'all gonna get fucked. It's not good.
What was the character's name in Hocus Pocus?
Binks.
Oh, was that his original name?
Thackeray Binks.
Thackeray, right?
Thackeray.
So I think Thackeray was playing Jumanji with these other guys in the 1800s. And they were like, yo, Hocus Pocus. Oh my God, that's the origin story. Hocus Pocus, Curse the fucking board game, and Thackeray Banks and all those. This is where it came from.
Do you imagine that was like his like Friday night, and then the Saturday it was like his sister gets like kidnapped.
He's like, I'm at
turns
it.
into a cat. And he's like, fuck this.
Oh my God, maybe that is Jumanji. It's like you rolled a 4 and now you're a cat for life and in another movie.
Oh God.
Wow.
There's a lot of great lines here, and I don't know if it's because we don't know how people talked in the 1800s, but you know, really just, again, these are children. There seems to be a lot of children playing this game. And one part they hear scary wolf howls because it's scary. Because this is, I would argue, somewhat of a child horror movie. It's fun, but like, I'm
pretty
scared.
sure Robin Williams didn't allow his children to watch this movie because it's pretty scary.
There are some parts where I was like, ah! Like, it was just very creepy. So they hear a pack of wolves, and the guy goes, don't worry, it's just a pack of wolves. Don't worry about the wolves, Bridge. So this could have been Thackeray, because he was also a little too chill for me. And then we have a very dramatic part, which this lived rent-free in my brain.
I have it in capital letters. Go for it,
I wrote
Kate.
it in capital letters, too! What if somebody finds the game? And then this is the dramatic, like, stare.
Close up.
May God have mercy on his soul.
Mercy on his soul.
And then I wrote LMFAO, this movie's amazing. Yeah.
They were not being ironic. They were trying to like really be like, I hope y'all are ready for this wild movie.
It's great. But we cut away from that because we're like, we gotta get to little Alan Parrish because it's 1969, I think, is something. Yeah, that makes sense because in 26 years.
Alan riding his bike, having a lovely day.
For now, and then it gets
until then we turn into the never-ending story and every other 80s
Bridge.
movies. What's happening?
The bike gang of bullies. These kids need some extracurricular activities. They need some mentors. I don't know what's going on.
Something.
We need some police officers. I don't know. They're openly threatening death. Nobody seems to care. These kids are out for blood. And then Alan, like, rides his bike to his dad is, like, loaded.
Oh, yeah.
He's a rich kid, and his dad owns a shoe factory. So he goes to this shoe factory, and then, like, pretty quickly, you meet a character called Carl. We like Carl. He's cool.
Do we? Because we screw up Carl's entire life.
Well, I like Carl. I don't know if Alan liked Carl. It seemed like he did, but yeah, he kind of messed shit up. But we meet Alan's dad, who's played by someone else who's like a famous character actor because he was in Anaconda.
So his name is Jonathan Hyde. And what is so cool about this movie is he plays two characters.
Yes,
he
the
plays
symbolism.
The dad, and then he plays the guy trying to kill Robin Williams, who was called Van
Pelt.
Now, Kate, he is also in the 1995 Richie Rich.
Oh yeah, he's Cadbury. Oh my god, I forgot.
Are you kidding me?
Oh
Cadbury? How could you forget?
Was that 1995? That was this year?
Because he was killing it then.
Wow. When did
Richie
Anaconda?
Rich, 1995.
Oh my god, I wonder when Anaconda came out.
No, I got it wrong. 1994.
What?
1994.
Okay, close enough.
All right.
So he's a dad, and he very quickly starts basically bitching at Alan, and he's like, wow, Alan, you're afraid of getting beat up by 12 children that want to kill you? Wow, like, be a man, like, face your fears. And I was like, this is terrible advice, sir.
Well, I feel like he kind of backtracks later, and he's like, so kid, I left out one important detail. If, like, 10 kids are trying to beat you up, like, you should run. I thought it was just one kid. My bad. I was like, what?
Oh, okay, but, like, let's also not encourage violence, sir, because later you get a gun, okay? And that's violence and scary.
Katie, what should Alan have done in your professional opinion?
Call the police.
Ah.
That's what I would do.
Okay.
Or be like,
snitch?
Dad, come out. Listen, Bridget, not all snitches get stitches, okay? Stop perpetuating the stereotype. Let's get back to the shoe factory, because there is plot here, okay?
There is plot.
Carl basically creates the Air Jordan. Now, Bridge, I'm going to ask a history question again. You have shoe knowledge. Did the Air Jordans originate in the 60s? What do we think?
No.
When did we make a sneaker?
The first sneaker ever made?
Like, what's a basketball
it's a high
sneaker?
top.
Right. I think of, like, basketball with those.
So, it would be in the 70s. It would be the Chuck Taylor, 1972, okay? So, Carl, okay, in this movie, was definitely ahead of his time. He had at least 3 years ahead of his time. He would have been set for life.
Yeah. But he's not, because Alan puts his shoe that he probably spent hours and days and weeks and nights on some conveyor belt, and then it eats it, and then it breaks the machine, and then Carl gets fucking fired.
Yeah, how rude. I was like,
wow.
Alan, I get you're beat up and you're a child. Just go up to your dad and be like, yo, that was me.
Yeah.
Like, you're fine. You're not going to get fired from the job you don't have.
Right. Yeah. So then Alan goes down and he gets beat up by all the children, and the reason these kids are going to beat him up, and by the way, I believe they are 11/12. One of the 12-year-olds is like, you were hanging out with my girl.
Yeah.
You're fucking 12.
Yeah.
So he gets beat up. A bunch of construction workers see, they do nothing. That's called being a bystander, you all, and that's not the right way to handle public beatings. So this is how we find the board game. Now, another thing that I thought of, which is kind of funny, and I mean, this is obviously a children's movie, so like, that's probably why they did this, but like, I just thought it was funny how this board game, like, senses children. It literally is like Hocus Pocus. They're like, we can smell the children.
Dude!
Like, there were
Origin
adults
story
around, and the drums didn't play for them, it only played for a little beat up sad Alan.
It's a freaking horror movie.
Yeah, not good.
And it gets louder as you get closer, like, you know, like Marco Polo shit.
Honestly, he treats it as like emotional support buried treasure, and it's just not the way to handle getting beat up.
Okay, but I gotta say, it was kind of cool. Like, if you found something like that as a kid, you'd be like, this is cool. What wasn't cool is the game, like, just kind of took a hold of him.
Yeah, and then there's like, we go home and then there's like drama with Alan and his dad. His dad's like, you're going to boarding school, hooray! And then Alan's like, wah! I don't want to go to boarding school. And he's like, God, you're gonna go there.
So his
stupid.
mother, Patricia Clarkson, is a super famous actress.
She was on Broad City. Do you remember that one episode?
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like it was, first of all, he was like, I'm so sorry you got beat up, but don't worry, I'm gonna make you feel better because you are officially gonna be sent away to boarding school. It's like, ooh, I don't know if that's a good transition. What'd you think?
And he's like, oh, you got beat up and your bike's stolen? Don't worry, I'm gonna send you around more 12-year-olds. They might also hate you. Have so much fun.
I feel like he was kind of ahead of his time, and he was like, I don't want to be sent away. I would like to, like, just be left alone. He made a really good point. He's like, everyone makes fun of me now because of how rich I am. So when I go to a boarding school where a building's named after me, you think I'm going to be treated well? I'm like, yeah, see, this kid gets it.
Yeah, he's pretty keyed into he's going to get beat up. Whether it's a board game, children, possibly his father.
Talk about abuse. This
anyone that looks at him, like, it's coming from anywhere.
Horrifying. And he should have fessed up to the shoe. Maybe this is the shoe that, like, hexed him.
This is the cursed Salem witch shoe that was an Air Jordan. It put a curse on him. We could spin this as a Hocus Pocus spinoff. I'm just saying.
He's so freaking good.
Oh my God. Okay, so the parents leave. Alan's like, wait, I'm gonna run away. But then the girl Sarah, who is like his neighbor, I guess.
Yeah.
Or she lives on the street, something. She comes over. She brings him back his bike. She's like, I'm sorry you got beat up by my maybe boyfriend. I'm 12. And then he's like, hey, I got a board game. You want to play? And at first she's like, that's lame. I'm 12. I'm cool. But then they like play anyway. So.
But to your point on like the creepiness that the children hear it, he was like, do you hear the drums? And she's like, yeah. And he's like, okay. He's like, I'm not cuckoo, but like, I didn't get beat up so bad that I am hearing things. And I feel like that's also kind of part of what also happens later. So like, you're hearing it too, right? I'm not so cuckoo. Oh man, but boy, this is a bad board game. And I read that I think the original person that wrote the book, it was because they hated Monopoly.
So they were like, what if Monopoly came to life and Park Place fucking landed on your head? Great. Oh my God. You go to jail, you don't collect $200.
No, so the theory,
this is horrible.
What I read was that Monopoly, you put in so much effort and you don't get a lot back. And so they wanted to create this world that like you really get action and adventure. And I think this movie spun it to be more like horror, but I don't know if the book is that scary, is just so to speak. So I forgot about that earlier.
Well, I think the first scary thing we see are these like bats that like they fly out and then they're kind of like, oh my God, bats, crazy. Or they hear like weird noises. I don't know if the bats fly out right away. I don't fucking know. It's terrifying.
So the coolest thing though, let's go to the special effects. So the coolest thing is they did a combo of like CGI and puppets.
Yes. I liked some of the puppets.
But I think that bat, where there's the scene that it lands on
like
her
on
shoulder,
her back? Oh!
And she turns around and it gets in her face. Kate, you know me. I am running. I'm Forrest Gump. I'm in 30 states. I'm growing a goatee. I'm out.
Bridget bought the Carl pre-Nike shoe and she's off. She's gotta go. It's not good.
It was, but like even now, watching 1995, think about how long ago that was. I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
That looks like a real bat in her face.
And then that part where the other kids like go in the attic, or the one kid, and you see the little like, it's like crunched up and then it puts its wings out slowly. That was so scary.
Horrifying.
I would flip a shit if I saw that in my house. And it probably is in my house somewhere because it's crazy here.
Okay.
Anyway, so that's my own problems. Okay, so then Alan rolls and he gets the shittiest roll that you could ever roll. And it basically says you have to wait in the jungle till someone rolls, I think, a 5 or an 8. They're all like little poem things.
In the jungle, you must wait until the dice read 5 or 8. And I gotta tell you,
that's bullshit.
I understand that Sarah had these horrific bats and everyone thought she was nuts, but she's gotta go back and at least try to roll a 5 or an 8. Because that was the dice. Pretty messed up. Yeah. Okay? Like, all she had to do was just try. She didn't even have to, she could say, hey man, I got the wrong number. But she didn't even try. No. 20 years? That's a horrible board game player.
Yeah, she's not a team player. Also, trauma is bad.
Wow.
So then we skip ahead, and now it is 26 years later.
26 years. I was saying 26 years later.
Yes. And then the first thing I wrote when we see this new, we'll call them family, I suppose, even though we find out what their relationships are. First thing I wrote is, wow, do I remember this lady's hat? Who's the aunt? And,
oh my God. You're so right. That you remember as a kid. So bizarre.
Iconic. I was like, what a hat. Okay, so this lady, I didn't write her name down. What's the aunt's name?
What is the aunt's name?
Aunt Nora. Aunt Nora.
Oh, sorry. On the nose.
Aunt Nora's wearing a hat. Okay. Aunt Nora buys this house, and she has 2 children with her, and we come to find, and this is Judy and Peter. Kristen Dunst is Judy. Flounder Little Mermaid is Peter. Okay, we're caught up. So we find out that they are actually her niece and nephew because their parents both died horrifically in a car accident when they were just trying to fucking ski. And again, the trauma is, it's real. It's so sad. So they're like, wow, our lives suck, and now we're moving to this bullshit place, and there's a bunch of fucking bats and fucking attic, and everything's horrible, and we hate everything. And you're like, this
horrifying.
So sorry. Also, there is a conspiracy theory exterminator who comes to look for the bats. And he starts telling them about, like, yeah, guys, little Alan Parrish was murdered in this house. He's chopped up into little pieces. His dad fucking hit him all around his mansion. And anyway, see you guys. Gotta go. There's no bats. And I was like, wow, I would not pay that man. But okay.
Honestly,
super cool.
I thought, though, it was, like, good context. Because just saying that, like, the boy disappeared, I don't know. As a kid, you'll just be like, oh, that's sad, and you move on. But being in the house that you're now living in, that he could be in the walls, I was like, it feels like such a kid story. Like, he got chopped into pieces, and he's in the walls, and are you afraid of the dark? You know, and you're like,
That's exactly how I was. But we very quickly get some Jumanji thumping drums, y'all, and it's coming from the attic, which I don't know how many times to say this. Weird shit in the attic.
Yo.
There's already a bat up there, guys. Like, did you forget?
Because I didn't. This is also a massive house. We need to, like, have that as, like, kind of context, because this attic is huge. Like, probably bigger than my home.
That was one thing I actually really liked about this movie that I thought was smart, was they made it in a mansion, basically. Yeah. So, like, you kept going in these different rooms because they'd be in one room and, like, something stupid would happen and get messed up. And they're like, I gotta move over here to the lounge now. Let's do that.
Here's the thing they never addressed, and I don't want to know the reason, but I find it very bizarre that this single woman with now 2 kids is like, hey, I got a deal on this mansion. And you're like, I don't know where you're getting your funds from. But I don't know if this is a great purchase. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't know what you do. We don't know where your money came from. Something's fishy.
Those property taxes are going to get you, lady. I'm just saying. You better be ready.
Absolutely. 2008 is just around the corner, so.
Oh, God. Yep. So the kids basically skip school. They get, like, left behind by the aunt, and they don't go to school, and they start playing this game because, okay. And, so I have the very first thing that happens is these, like, huge mosquitoes, which may or may not also already live in my backyard. But, you know.
Dude. Okay, let's give a little backstory of the kids. So Kristen Dunst, and I loved this backstory. Part of her trauma of her parents dying is she's a pathological liar.
Yes.
Okay. Peter's backstory is that he doesn't speak.
Yeah. But like, two adults. Like, secretly speaks.
But then once Jumanji happens, that takes that away, and then he, like, begins speaking. But he kind of is reserved, right?
Yeah.
So he makes a lot of decisions without, like, talking to people. And I feel like every time a crazy animal would come out, Kirsten Dunst was, like, justifying it by how creative her lies were. So with the mosquitoes, she was like, listen, it's gotta be, like, microchipped or something. Like, she just kept, I was like, this is such a hilarious backstory that she's like, listen, we didn't actually see that. It's just a hallucination. It's not real. I'm like,
she's like, oh, that thing I hit with the tennis racket? No. That's normal for wherever the fuck we just moved to.
Peak gaslighter, and I am here for it. But yeah. I mean, I thought it was horrifying, but Peter, which I was like, Peter is the only one that gets it, quickly rolls the dice, okay? Because he's like, oh my god, my instinct tells if it's my turn, then maybe this will stop. And if we all just did that quickly, Kate, the horror wouldn't have even happened, right?
Yep. So Peter rolls, and this is where we get CGI monkeys. These monkeys weren't as good. I would argue trying to be comedic, trying to be like the comedy.
Kate, the first thing that happens is they throw a knife at children.
Well, that's not
horrifying
comedy. It was like Gremlins comedy where I was like, oh, I don't want to be near you.
It's horrifying. But what's funny about the rest of the movie is they stole Carl's cop car.
They did.
They do like silly things here and there. They don't actually affect them. They're just kind of like shenanigans, you know?
They are, yes.
But Kate, someone rolls a 5 or 8, and what happens 30 minutes after the movie's already played? Robin
Williams in a cool leaf hat! And a scary practical effect line.
The Hook vibes, I gotta tell you. Oh my god.
Might as well yell Rufio, because that was what I also found out that his leaf hat, which I thought was only leaves, it was actually a turtle shell with leaves on it, and that was a little creative, I gotta say.
That was a lot, but he came and saved them from a lion.
That's a scary lion.
That
was like never-ending story where it's like, I can't see the evil creature in the dark, and the movie was like, we're gonna make this fucking scary. And I was like, okay.
Horrifying.
Okay,
I was like getting close to the screen like, come on, this can't be that. It's 1995. It can't be that good. It was like pretty freaking good. At one point, you could see the little pieces of hair like blowing. I'm like, CGI doesn't look like this. They had to add other pieces to this because it's so cool. But Robin Williams saves them.
Yeah.
And then they're like, okay, thank you for saving us, but who are you, Jungle Man?
So Robin Williams comes back very quickly, goes, which is a popular meme that I often refer to when I wake up from a nap, which is, what year is it? Because you don't know what year it is because he was in a made-up jungle and there's no calendars. And they were like, oh my god, it's this year, whatever. And he's like, what? Where are my parents? And he's like, he realizes he's back in his house. He's like kind of going through, like, it kind of gets like a weird emotional moment. And there's a lot of like tone shifts and you're like, am I sad? Am I scared? Am I what am I? And he tries to go and find his dad. So he's like, I know, I'll go to the shoe factory. And he runs off to the shoe factory. Dad's not there. There's also a bunch of like homeless people in this town, which I was like, what? Okay, I don't know why this is the town with the homeless
apparently
people,
the shoes were keeping this town alive. And once Alan got taken into the game, his dad looked for him with all of his might. The entire town collapsed because once the shoes weren't moving,
the fucking shoes,
that was it. And I thought, 26 years we haven't fixed this problem? Where are we right now in the country? I gotta know.
I don't know, but like we need to not only rely on shoes, guys. You're not Carrie Bradshaw. Okay. Okay. So he's like, oh my god, my dad is dead. And also he meets some guy who goes, have you seen my dad? And the guy, do you remember what the guy says?
Yeah, he basically sends him to the gravestone.
He goes, I see them every now and then. And then we're in a cemetery. And I was like, ah!
Horrifying.
That's not right. That's the wrong way to do that.
Horrifying.
And this is where he donates his turtle shell hat to his late parents on their gravestone. Yep. Then we got fucking bugs. These, like, mosquitoes try to kill them. They drive away. And then they're like, what's going on? Oh my god, we don't know what's happening. And then Alan, like, he kind of explains what's going on. He's like, this is a fucked up game. I ain't playing this shit. I'm gonna shave my beard, even though I don't know how to shave. And, like, I'm over it. And the kids are like, you gotta play with us. Like, we gotta finish. Because they try to roll. And they're like, it's not working. And then he realizes it's not your turn. And it's not his turn. And that's when he's like, uh-oh, it's Sarah's turn.
I love that.
Wow.
And
that's a petty game to be like, oh, we are fucking in this till the end.
That's how you know the Sanderson sisters created this.
Yes, the level of petty, absolutely.
But I gotta say, okay, so it was like, in between the rolling of the dice, you'd have adventure with animals. Okay, so it's quick. And then, even this part where you're like, wow, 26 years passed. We have to quickly introduce myself to this person who may not remember me, saw me sucked into a board game, their entire life was ruined because of it, and all do that to keep the plot moving. That could be a whole movie, Kate.
Yep.
And they did it amazing. This was not in the original book. Both of those characters are completely new to this film.
Oh,
and like
wow.
Bonnie Hunt and Robin Williams like matched each other on acting. It was so good.
I loved her in this. I mean, I love him in this too. Like, I just thought her character was so funny because she is just like, deny, and then she has to call her therapist because she's like, I'm having an hallucination that seems pretty real right now. Ah.
Kate, I want to read a quote because before Robin Williams was down to find Sarah, he was definitely not going to play. And little Peter, aka Flounder, was like, yeah, are you afraid? And then Robin Williams gets all Dead Poet Society. And he goes,
my God, Captain, my Captain.
I've seen things you've only seen in your nightmares. Things you can't even imagine. Things you can't even see. There are things that haunt you in the night. Then something screams, and you hope to God you will not meet the same fate. Afraid? You don't even know what afraid is.
Wow. Children's movie, everybody.
And this is a children's movie.
And they do like scary music in the background of that, and I'm scared.
But okay, I get Jumanji is not Oscar worthy. Okay, I get it. It's just not part of the whatever the repertoire. But can I tell you, Bonnie Hunt and Robin Williams made this movie because the amount of acting that had to go into keeping the pace while also making you like feel things was incredible. But he did trick her to play. That was sneaky.
It was tricksy. It was very tricksy. Smart, but tricksy. So she ends up basically accidentally rolling. Her thing that she rolls, this is where all the vines come out. Oof. And I remember this about this movie and I was like, that's scary. I don't like plants anymore. But now I'm like, I'm cool with plants.
We all love plants. There
Some
are new
plants.
Pets that are our new children.
As long as they don't like shoot a poison dart in my neck, we good. And they don't try to eat me in a cabinet or whatever. But we all survive. And then again, they're like, oh, I guess we should like, I don't know, keep playing. Here we go. So then they're like, wow, let's keep playing. Hooray. What the fuck did I wrote here? I wrote, oh my fucking God, Pam Belt? Oh, Van Pelt. Pam Belt.
You're turning into me.
Her. She's a demon. Van Pelt fucking comes out because Robin Williams rolls and he knows right away like who this person is, which again, I'm like, so you just spent 26 years in the jungle avoiding death from everything? And also this hunter? I'm scared. That's terrible. What the fuck? What did he do?
And he was a really good evil character because he gave evil Terminator vibes, like T-3000 vibes. Like, I am on a mission. I will not stop. You will be
T-1000.
T-1000, sorry.
Yeah.
How about the gun store, though? Ugh.
Oh.
I was like, America, we're the worst.
Fucking hate it. And I was like, this is still real.
But don't worry because he gets arrested and it's a good thing so he could get away from crazy guy.
I don't think he gets arrested yet because we have a stampede.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, somehow the gun guy goes somewhere else. And then it's like, oh my God, it's a stampede. And this I remember they used a lot in like the commercials and like previews for this movie was like, look at this stampede. And you're like, whoa. Stampedes are crazy. They happen all the time in the jungle. I don't think they do, but it's fucking fine for the children. And then we have a pelican that decides, bitch, I'm gonna steal this game. And you're like, no. And then, yeah.
Which, are pelicans part of stampedes? What climate
are pelicans
is this?
Part of jungles? I don't think
Where
so.
are we?
I'm
it's
not
like
sure.
National Geographic. They just like scrapped it all together and said, well, here's what we'll pick.
It's a lot.
But
is
then
happening.
somehow we get to water. How did we get there?
Well, because pelicans a water bridge.
No, I know. How did we
Oh.
get there? You know, like no one's driving. I don't know, but Peter's on the move.
Peter does some Simone Biles gymnastics bullshit, and he gets this game from a log.
Okay.
I don't even know
Okay,
how
Kate,
he did it.
what movie did it remind you of?
What he did?
What did it remind you of?
Is it Willow with Val Kilmer?
Nobody else but
Oh
you.
my god, Goofy movie!
Just about
Yeah.
to go off the cliff, and he does, like you said, Simone Biles, and hangs down and catches it, just like the perfect catch from the movie Goofy movie. Check it out. Kevin Lima tweeted us once.
Oh, he did. He liked our tweet because we love him. Yeah, I don't fucking know. So that, like, is just, and the whole point of this part, like,
we're
okay.
setting up some male on male
some, like,
stuff.
Alan is like, hey, Peter, I just met you. This is crazy, but I'm gonna be fucking pissed off at you because you're a little boy and I'm traumatized. And you're like, whoa.
Okay, I got the sense, if you are, from your psychological expertise, Kate, if you're 12, you get sucked into a board game, into a magical jungle for 26 years. Do you kind of stay at 12? Like, is it like an addiction?
I mean, you have
like once
no
it starts,
human interaction.
Yeah, right?
So, yeah, I would think, like, to some degree.
So at first, I thought, okay, Alan's stuck at 12, and then Peter is, like, basically 12, so they're, like, 12-year-olds fighting. But then it turned into, like, I'm supposed to be a father figure, and you're a son, and I'm gonna treat you like this father-son, but I had a bad father, so I don't know how to do it. It was weird.
Didn't like it.
But again, he acted his ass off because quick, right? Did it really ruin the movie? Nope. We just moved on.
No, and it was quick, but this is where Alan gets arrested, and he's like, guys, it's cool I get arrested because I'm actually being sniped right now by not Pam Belt, but Van Pelt, which is worse.
In our knockoff scary movie version, it would be Pam Belt.
Pam Belt.
And it would be played by Miss Trunchbull from Matilda.
Oh my god. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. So while this is happening, Peter is like, guys, we gotta finish this bullshit game. I just broke my back trying to pick it out of the water. We gotta move. But he tries to cheat Bridge. And what happens to him? Because cheaters get mosquitoes? What happens? I don't know.
Okay, so he tried to cheat, and he basically, like, turns into a monkey.
He's like a monkey. Why is that part of the jungle? Is that
I don't, I feel like okay, let's talk about this petty game, okay?
Okay.
They're like, listen, if you start, you can't finish, and whoever finishes first wins, okay?
Yeah.
And also, no limit on time. There is no, it's forever, 26 years, keep going.
Yeah.
But if you try to cheat, I could try to murder you like I do every roll. But you know what? I'm gonna make you think on this one, and I'm gonna completely change your entire physical form. What a game.
You grew a tail.
But to be honest, Kate, I was like, there's so much bad shit happening. Being a monkey, is it really that bad? Like, he's still living.
That's true. Like, it could have been a lot worse. We could have got those mosquitoes bullshit things again. So, like, this was probably the best you could have got, honestly.
And I'm wondering why he didn't turn into Flounder, you know?
And they just gotta carry him around a little
He just wiggles.
movie.
He's just in a water all the time. Okay.
Okay.
But here we are. We keep moving on. We keep moving forward. And boy, when they go back into this house, Kate. Whoa.
Well, they gotta get the game something. Wait, what happened? Peter tries to cheat. He becomes a monkey. Bonnie Hunt's awesome. Oh, so they go into the town for some reason. And then Van Pelt steals the game. And they're like,
yes.
shit, the game's stolen. Robin Williams Williams, who's Alan Parrish, is arrested. We gotta, like, get it back. So then we kind of go on this, like, side quest to, like, a Walmart-esque store where they're like, we gotta, like, do some Home Alone hijinks and get this game. And, like, wow, crazy.
Like, Peter creates an entire contraption
Home
in
Alone.
the weightlifting section of
Too
this
much.
Walmart where he adds, like, oxygen tanks from the scuba gear, pulls something, and it flings a raft that trips him, and then he really should be dead because, like, a whole wall of paint cans fell on him. And Kate, if I ever dropped a paint can on my toe, I'm in the hospital. He had an entire wall fall on him, and he is just doing fine. He just has a couple shades of, you know, cyan yellow all over him.
And, like, Van Pelt's like, yeah, the reason I stole the game was to, like, lure Alan here. I'm like, bitch, he's arrested. Like, we're busy. Like, stop. Alan, meanwhile, is with Carl, who's the only police officer working in this town, I think. And
This
Carl's
poor
life
guy.
sucks.
Dude, Carl's like, let me tell you, first of all, his shoes get wrecked. His
Fucked
car is now
No.
next.
Wow.
Okay, his car might as well went through that same assembly line because it is getting shredded.
So then Alan's like, I'm Alan Parrish. Then he's like, that's crazy. And then he's like, never mind, I believe you. Then it's like, okay, I'll kind of help you, maybe. But then Alan's like, no, Carl, go off on your own. I gotta go do some shit. And then Carl's like, whoa.
Oh, he handcuffs him.
He handcuffs him, but then he, like, drives with him to the place. And then at the place, he saws off the handcuffs, which might have been the inspiration for Saw, because this is a horror.
Ah!
Anyway, so now they're back at this fucking mansion, and oh my god, Bridge, the next part, do you remember this next part? What
Well,
happened?
first it's like, it's taken over by these vines. Okay?
Yes.
Like, I don't know. I've been to some apartments where, like, the trend of plants have gotten out of control. And COVID made things worse, right? We all didn't leave our house. It was like COVID lasted for 10 years because it was an explosion.
Bridge, I don't know if it's fair for you to say that when you right now have a fake background of at least, like, 6 plants. I
am a part of the
Okay.
problem. I have lots of plants.
Your virtual problem is a problem, right? Yes. So they get to the mansion, and I don't know who fucking rolls this, but it doesn't matter, because it starts to rain indoors, which is the worst. And, it's like a monsoon, you're like, whatever, it's just water, it can't be that bad. Bridge, it's not fucking just water, and we turn into Lake Placid all over again, because we got big old crocodiles,
Kate.
and holy shit.
Kate, that crocodile
Was this
had
Lake Placid?
an actual man in it.
What? How?
Being
Who?
a puppet.
Oh no, that's some Jim Henson shit right
His
there.
name was Tom Woodruff Jr.
Okay, Tom.
And Robin Williams got so into fighting him that he forgot it was a man in there, and he, like, kind of beat him up, and the man had to stop filming and say, bro, I'm still in here. And Robin was like, my bad, I was into this scene.
How do you do puppeteering underwater?
Well, as we know from the incredible movie, Jim Henson's,
the Muppet movie. I know, I thought
that
of
he
that.
had a tank down below.
Oh.
I didn't get into the intricacies. I just know that I don't think this movie gets enough credit for its special effects / puppeteering / light and magic. It was so freaking good.
Yeah. And very scary. Somehow they get so they, like, jump on the chandelier, and you're like, that's not gonna work because it's still raining. But don't worry, Bridge, because while all this shit was happening, Carl runs into Aunt Nora.
Yes.
Aunt Nora has a monkey in her car, and then she crashes her car, and then the car, whatever. So she's like, I need a ride. And then the guy was like, I'll drive you. But then his car gets eaten by a plant.
It's a bad day.
So now they're like, let's get to this fucking house. And they're like, oh, simple. We'll just open the door as we hear these horrific screams, and there's, like, water coming out, whatever. And this part is pretty fucking funny. I remember this growing up, where they're just, like, surfing on, like, the doors, and they're screaming, and, like, the crocodiles are just, like, swimming by. Oh my god.
Honestly,
it's so funny.
David Alan Grier makes this movie. He is
So funny
at this point. I was laughing hysterically. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It started with the house, but then it just went everywhere. Like, the whole town had a river going through it. The whole town has animals, and it was just out of control. But that makes the house empty. The crocodile's gone.
Oh, we hope. Oh, God.
And who's up next, Kate?
Well, now we gotta go to the attic because, I don't know.
Head for higher ground.
Oh, sure. Okay. So then, I think Robin Williams rolls this, and he rolls it, and it's fucking quicksand, which I think is so funny because I feel like every kid was terrified that they would get stuck in quicksand.
Why do we think that, Kate? Why do we think that?
Is it because of Jumanji? Because,
No. We did a movie on it.
On quicksand?
We did a movie on it, and it traumatized us.
Uh-oh.
Okay?
What was it?
Are you kidding me? Watching Artyom, the horse?
Artex! Oh! Never-ending story! Oh!
That's exactly where I think it came from. What's his name? Artex?
Artex, that's a horse.
Watching in the swamps of sadness. Get sucked down. That's where it came from. And we were all obsessed with quicksand, and we were all terrified of it, and it was in everything, everywhere in the 90s.
Okay, but also, we used to own it was like a live action Jungle Book movie, and Carrie Elways was the bad guy in it, and they used like live animals, and Carrie Elways dies because of quicksand. Or somebody gets quicksand. And, like, that was another, like, 90s quicksand trauma. Wow, guys. Let's all avoid quicksand. I think we'll be okay, but you never know.
Okay, you never know.
So Robin Williams gets stuck in the floor, and again, he's like, "Hey guys, I have a solution. Like, roll the dice." And they're like, "Oh yeah, cool." So they roll the dice, and now he's stuck in the floor, and his face is like,
"Oh my god, it's so funny!"
It's just like a squished face, and it's so funny. And then Bonnie Hunt is like also stuck, like her arms are stuck, trying to grab him, and I love it.
But this was what was so good about the movie. It's like, you know how when you're filling out a crappy survey and you're like, how long is this gonna take? And there's that bar. The bar's like, you're 25% done. You're 30% done. We got to watch the pieces of the game get closer. So like, as this movie kept going and going and going and going, we're like, okay, we gotta be closer. We gotta be closer. Like, we're almost there. We're almost there. And I feel like at this point, I was like, all right, let's hurry this up.
And there were parts where they were like, oh, if you roll this number, you're gonna win.
Yes.
You're like, ooh, but then you're like, wait, but there's still like a half hour of the movie, guys.
Dude,
like,
it was,
I know what's happening.
First of all, she was like, Sarah, if you roll a 12, you win. And then she like rolled a 3. I'm like, Sarah!
Sarah! Damn it. I don't know who fucking rolls this shit, but this is also the scariest part that lives rent-free in my nightmares. The spiders. Wow. I've seen Arachnophobia and other spider horror movies. This shit's scarier. This shit is scary.
Because they were big, but not silly big. They weren't it big.
Ooh, they're squeaky.
And they were hitting the floor.
Oh
my
God.
god.
And they had little, like, drooly fangs.
But we gotta give it up for Kirsten Dunst, because as a little child, she was beating the crap out of all these animals, okay? She was like, I take my older sister role seriously. She was tennis racketing mosquitoes. She was taking a broom to these things. Peter went and got an axe from the shed.
Okay, that reminded me of fucking Commando. I'm like, I'm sorry, Peter can't find a weapon in this cluttered attic? I don't believe it. I don't think we need to run all the way out of the house to come back in. This is how Jenny got kidnapped, guys. Listen to Commando, you'll know.
You'll know.
Okay. Also, it's hysterical when Robin Williams tries to go, tries to blow, and the spider's coming at us. It's so funny.
He was such a freaking gem. I'm so sad.
Yeah.
I feel like he could have kept doing like really incredible movies. But all of a sudden, they realized, okay, roll quickly. Which I was like, okay, finally we're catching on. And it still makes things worse because then it just becomes like an earthquake?
I think so. And then like the house like splits apart.
Very poltergeist, you know?
Oh my god, yeah. And then you're like, we're all gonna fucking die now. And then Robin Williams becomes Tarzan for a second and he jungle swings and he's like, grabs the game because the game fell. And then he's like, it's my turn to roll. I just gotta roll. Oh my god. But Bridge, Pam Van Belt comes on in and is like, I'm gonna shoot you in the face now. Now you're gonna die. But he's a bad guy in the 90s, so he monologues. And Robin Williams was holding the dice and he's like, drop what's in your hand. And he does. And it's the dice and it falls and it cracks. So you're like, we're screwed. But the game's like, maybe you're not. Because I make up the rules.
It keeps rolling. It keeps rolling.
Just gonna keep going.
This game is like, You know, it's just crack
Like,
it
I'm
up.
gonna make you sweat.
Oh, man.
But it, I guess, gets the correct number. I am curious to know what would happen if you went over the exact number, but that's too much, and we're not going to ask Jumanji that, because that's too much.
But
this is where Robin Williams
what does he say?
goes, Jumanji.
Jumanji.
He's like, what? I was just like, what? What the fuck are you saying?
And I loved, because I was like, yo, if you got sucked into the game 26 years ago, and then you end up coming back, beating the game, and then getting to see everyone else sucked in, I'd be like, that's what I'm talking about. And then what made this movie even better, Kate? Because you're like, I'm already entertained. I'm here for it. I'm loving it. They go back in time. This petty freaking game. Am I right?
I wrote, my God, the true horror is reliving your preteen years. Am I right? This game is fucked up, and I hate it so much. But I also love the movie, but I hate the game.
Okay, we have to
My
talk,
God.
though, about they moved him back in time, but he keeps his adult memory.
And so does Sarah.
And Sarah keeps it, but the kids don't keep their memory because they don't exist. But then when he sees them, he's like, they don't know who we are, but we love them. I was like, okay. Somebody missed the plot here, because, like, I'm confused.
Yeah, they were like, uh-oh, we added 2 people in who weren't from the book, and now we gotta figure some shit out, so I don't know.
And
It's just gonna make them all know each other.
And Kate, you're telling me at 12, okay, I get it. You had this, like, really traumatic experience with somebody, okay? But are you staying with that person for the rest of your life and get married? I mean, what happened for 26 years? That's gotta be the longest relationship someone's ever been in.
Statistically, I'm gonna bet no on that.
Yeah.
But, you know, in
But
movie
here we are
land,
in a mansion.
Hey, you know, she saw an opportunity, and she's like, well, what could be worse than this dumbass game? At least he knows how to play it.
Or
so,
being
sure.
a fake psychic, because as a psychic, she did not predict this was
Oh
gonna
my God.
happen.
Wait, there's a really amazing line. Oh, fuck, did I write it? Oh, there's a part where, like, Alan is a dick to Peter, and she goes, just ignore him, honey. He's a Libra. Amazing. I want that on a sign. Amazing. Yeah, and then nobody's dead, and then they also, like, they throw away the game. They, like, kind of do a mafia murder to this game, and they, like, try to sink it in the river. But, as we know, sometimes things float from it, because it's Halloween.
It washes up on a beach somewhere. But there was never a Jumanji 2.
No, but then we had the reboot, which...
We had the reboot, but they never left it open for Jumanji 2. I wonder why no one did it.
I don't know.
If anybody knows, we'd like to know. You tell us.
If you're the writer of Jumanji and you know the inside scoop, tell us.
Joe Johnson, are you listening to this?
And also give us your opinion on the reboot.
I watched it. It was fine. I mean, it was a fine movie. The Rock is funny. Kevin Hart is funny. Other people are great in it. But it's just like, they just threw money at it. They didn't give it heart. You know, like...
They didn't give it Robin Williams.
They didn't give it Robin Williams.
And Pam Belt or whatever. Yeah, not in there. So, well, obviously, I think I know the answer, Bridge, but I'll ask anyway. Watch or don't watch?
Wow. Stop what you're doing right now and watch this.
Wow.
Because I truly went into this being like, I don't know. This can't be that good. Like, from when I remembered it. And it was. I loved it.
So great. So fun.
How about you, Kate? Would you watch it or don't watch it?
Definitely watch it.
Wow.
I will show my kids this one day, the future children, not the Judy Peter made up children from my trauma.
Okay, that's good.
But I think I will wait till they're a little older, because I'm worried about the nightmares.
Love it.
Save on the therapy bills for that. So
yeah.
Well, Bridge, you know, like I said before, I kind of not ragged on you, but I kind of laughed because like, Bridge, we're in October, we need something spoopy, scary. Yeah, this fits. So kudos to you for that. But it's my pick. And my pick may or not be liked by you.
No, is it horror?
It might be horror because
scary.
we gotta do one and you're not gonna pick pick it, so I gotta pick it for us. Yeah. However, I'm going with a classic. It's a stereotypical classic for October. It's only an hour and a half long. We're gonna make it. Get crunchy crackers, just carrots, whatever the fuck you eat.
My emotional support snacks.
Yeah, 1978.
Whoa.
I assume you've seen this. I don't think this is, like, give me nightmare scary, but it's creepy concept. Very iconic movie for October, and our big holiday in October is what, Bridge?
Halloween?
We're doing Halloween.
Whoa! I was like, wait, have we done this yet?
We have not. We are going to Haddonfield, Illinois, Bridge. You can go visit to do research. Don't do that. Never mind. Michael Myers. This is the description. 15 years after murdering his sister on Halloween night, 1963, Michael Myers escapes from a mental hospital, turns small town Hatfield to kill again.
Horrifying.
Sorry, killing's not funny, but yeah, this is fun. Have you seen this?
Okay, maybe, but like not for a while. Like again, okay, so when I used to watch these as a kid, I would be behind the blanket for like 70% of it. So now I try to actually watch it.
Yeah.
And we got Jamie Lee Curtis.
Oh, I freaking love her! Is this our first Jamie Lee Curtis movie?
John Carpenter. Oh
okay.
my god.
Yes.
So they said Friday the 13th kind of, this was
off.
Before Friday the 13th.
Yeah, Friday the 13th ripped this off. If you really want to dive into some of the fun facts, I would also recommend on Netflix is a show, The Movies That Made Us. I think I made you watch some episodes, but they've done a bunch. They did like some like scary movies like last year, 2 years ago for Halloween, and they did this movie. So you get the whole like backstory on it. It's very interesting because John Carpenter, who was the director, he also was the composer because he has a music background. Like he wasn't ever a movie person, I don't think. Like, I think he was, like, into music and then somehow through, like, you know, being a white man in the 70s, he got to direct a movie. So, but it's, like, cool. And the music is very iconic. And, yeah. So, that's gonna be our spoopy, scary, in addition to the children's beloved classic Jumanji this month. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, Bridge.
Yeah.
I just want to say, oh Jesus Christ. If you
in the jungle, if you must
wait until the Dice Street 5 or 8.
I'm coming back, Kate, and I don't care if that African bat.
Is this yours or mine?
It's mine. I'm stealing it. I don't care if that African bat comes in and tries to murder me. I will do anything I can to roll that 5 or 8 because I am never leaving you in a jungle for 26 years. You bet your bottom I won't.
Wow, thanks, little orphan Annie. That's really nice of you. Oh, well, Bridge, I would do the same. And I also would probably strongly encourage us to not play strange board games that make their own sounds when they have no microchips or whatever the fuck Kristen Dunst's character said. That didn't make sense. Because I love you. And listeners, if you also love board games that don't kill you, and if you would be a team player and just keep playing the goddamn game especially if it sucked up your friend, I don't know. And if you think that Robin Williams and Bonnie Hunt are icons and should have got awards of some kind, you should write us a review.
Hey,
we love reviews. We love written reviews. You can review us on Apple Podcasts along with some other podcasting apps. We also have a website, sisterswhoseenit.com. On our website, you can request a movie. So on there is a form you can fill out. It is October. We like to lean, or I like to lean. Who's leaning? Maybe me. I don't know. Towards October themed movies. They don't have to be scary. Jumanji's scary, so never mind. That's scary. They don't have to be, though. They could be whatever. But if you have a request, get on there and do that. And And Bridge, what else can they do on our website?
They can buy us coffee.
Woo!
You're like, oh my god, I went back and watched Jumanji. Thank you, sisters who've seen it. Here's $5. Have a coffee.
Hey!
Okay? You go on our website, you type it in, piece of cake. And if you're thinking, man, not only did I give them $5 for coffee, but I also want to rep their gear. You go to our merchandise section. And I don't know, now that you mentioned that Libra quote, I'm like, oh, I might have some fun on a t-shirt with that one.
I will buy it.
Honestly, we have tons of merchandise that we just keep throwing up and being silly and fun, and you tell us what you want, and we're just going for it. So check it out.
Yeah. Check all that out, listeners. And we hope to hear from you. All right. Well, we'll see you all next week for Halloween. It's not as scary as evil drums that play for children. I don't think any kids die in this movie, so that, I guess, is a win, right?
That's good.
I don't know.
Let me tell you, just make sure your board games don't drum.
Wow.
Goodbye. Love you. Goodbye.
Love you.
Take
Bye-bye.
care of you. Bye-bye. Love you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to Sisters Who've Seen It. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Check out our website at sisterswho'veseenit.com, where you can email us, request movies to be reviewed, and keep up to date with all things sisters. Also, make sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. See you next week.